Tennessee Williams was an American playwright who wrote multiple plays that made it all the way to Broadway and stayed there until they became household names. Thomas Lanier Williams was born on March 26, 1911 in Columbus, Mississippi, the middle child of Cornelius and Edwina Williams. His early childhood is described as happy and pleasant, although his relationship with his father was rocky because he preferred his work over his children. His world was completely flipped, however, when his family moved to St. Louis, Missouri. No longer could he be carefree and happy, as his parents' relationship became tense. His family didn't prove to be useful, though. In fact, they gave him his fortune as they are the basis for a lot of his writings. In fact, his parents offered the model for 2 characters in 2 different plays. Another inspiration for his writing was the city of New Orleans, where he moved after college. When the first version of his first play didn't quite work, he revised it and it went on to become his first hit and was even made into a movie. That first play landed him a job of writing scripts for MGM. He continued to write, and in the 50s, he wrote Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof is one of the most recognizable classic American plays. It began showing in live theaters in 1955 and is still in production on Broadway today. However, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof is not what one might think at first glance. That means that no, it is not a 3-act show about a kitten stuck on a house. Actually, it goes quite a bit deeper than that. It focuses on the hardship of one Southern family's life as they come to know that the head of their house has terminal cancer. Act 1 opens with Margaret, or Maggie, complaining to her husband Brick that his brother's children used her dress as a napkin. She then goes on to tell him that Gooper, his brother, and May, Gooper's wife, spent the entire night showing off their kids' talents and tricks at Big Daddy's birthday dinner until everyone got tired of seeing them, including Big Daddy, Gooper and Brick's father. She reminds him that they don't even have children, and because of that reason, Gooper and May are trying to swindle Big Daddy into leaving them the plantation when he dies. When further probed, Maggie reveals to Brick that it is official. Big Daddy will die. Even though Big Mama, Big Daddy's wife, only believes that he has a spastic colon. She also reminds Brick that his drinking problem and childlike stunts, like breaking his ankle the night before when he decided to run track at 3 a.m, are not helping their cause any. Also, the fact that he won't so much as touch her makes their relationship difficult. However, she still believes in their chances at getting the house since Big Daddy has a particular liking for Brick. And for her. Maggie continues to talk to Brick with little response from him until she catches sight of him staring at her in the mirror. She suddenly loses her control and screams about how she has had a complete change of character recently, being made like a cat onto a hot tin roof. She questions why the cat stays on the roof, a comparison to her and Brick's relationship. She decides that the cat stays simply to see how long it can stand the heat, to prove to herself that cats aren't as weak as they're made out to be. Then Maggie brings up Skipper, a deceased friend of Brick, and he loses his own cool for a minute, and even threatens to take Maggie's life and tries to hit her with his crutch. He then asks her how she expects to have a child with a man who can't even stand to be around her. Act 2 begins with Big Daddy entering Brick and Maggie's room to speak with Brick. The whole family shows, however, and sings happy birthday to Big Daddy. We then begin to see the relationship between Big Mama and Big Daddy, which consists of multiple jokes made at Big Mama's expense. Big Daddy is unpleased with the performance and angrily orders everyone out. When everyone is gone, Big Daddy calls for Brick. Margaret delivers him and kisses him goodbye to show Big Daddy that she is a loving wife to his favorite son. Brick, however, promptly wipes it off, much like a kindergartner would do when given cooties. Big Daddy asks Brick why he wiped off Maggie's kiss, to which he has no response. Big Daddy then asks him an even harder question. What is the cause of his drinking problem? Big Daddy talks at Brick for a while about how he plans to find himself another woman. Brick tells Big Daddy that he hasn't yet had the click in his head that makes him peaceful and even tries to storm away. However, Big Daddy snatches his crutch from underneath him and Brick puts weight on his broken ankle, causing him to collapse to the floor, unable to get up. Brick then asks Big Daddy to give him his crutch so that he can get a drink. Big Daddy tells Brick that he will make him a drink himself if Brick tells him why he has taken up drinking. Big Daddy then asks him if there was anything unusual about Brick and Skipper's relationship. Brick refuses the idea continually and says that they shared a true friendship. Brick finally relents and says that the cause of his alcoholism was discussed with mendacity. He tells of how Skipper made a phone call to him one night to reveal how he felt, but Brick hung up on him. Big Daddy then reveals that the real reason that Brick has a problem is discussed with himself for feeling responsible for the suicide of his best friend. Big Daddy then becomes angry with the liars surrounding him and leaves for bed. Just then, the entire rest of the family comes back into the room and decides that Big Mama should know the truth about Daddy's condition. They tell her of his impending death, though at first she refuses to believe it. When she finally accepts it as truth, she calls Brick her only son and tells Maggie that she must help him become sober so he can better run the place when Big Daddy has passed, and begs him to have a child so that Big Daddy can have his dying wish before he goes. Maggie, struck with an idea, announces that she is pregnant. Big Mama leaves to tell Big Daddy, who is now in immense pain, and May and Gooper, after accusing Maggie of being a liar, also exit. Brick finally finds the peaceful clique and goes out onto the terrace. When he re-enters, he finds that all of his liquor is locked away. When he asks why he can't have a drink, Maggie makes him a deal. He can have his alcohol when the lie is made true. In the 60s, Tennessee Williams' plays began to receive bad reviews, and he tried to fix his problems with drugs and alcohol. In 1969, his brother hospitalized him, but he was released only a short while later. He never quite shook the habit, though, and died in a New York hotel room on February 25, 1983. So my panorama is a bookshelf that contains most of Tennessee Williams' most famous works. And the cat here represents Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, which is what I did my project over. And then we have a rose at the bottom, which represents the rose tattoo, which is another one of his famous works.